Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new episode. Now it's another scorcher today, but I've still got plenty of stuff to be getting on with. Now today I'll be planting out some of my flowers into the flower border. There's also a few more herbs to be planted out, and I need to tackle weeding the fruit cage. Plus, if I have some spare time, I'm going to be sowing some swede in the brassica bed, and I'll also be direct sowing some poppies as well. So hello everyone. I can't believe how hot it's got, and I know we shouldn't complain because we either complain it's too cold and wet or we complain that it's too hot. But I just want to say excuse the sweaty mess of a face today. I've lathered myself up with so much sun cream, and it's that horrible greasy sun cream that just makes you feel all sweaty and yuck. But sunscreen is a must. And I'm also not going to be drinking any tea today. I've got a bottle of water because you just need to remember to drink lots of water when it's this hot. And I can't believe I'm going to say it, but I probably shouldn't have come up the allotment today just because it's so hot. And if you're standing out in the sun for a long time, it's not, well, it's uncomfortable. It's not very nice at all. And my allotment doesn't get any shade at all. I keep meaning to buy like a parasol or a big umbrella or something, but anyway, I've come up here specifically to do some jobs, and I think the main thing and the one thing I'd be really happy if I ticked off the list today would be weeding the fruit cage, because the fruit cage is one of those things that always gets forgotten about, you know, because I don't really go in there, I don't really look at it, I don't really do much with it around this time of the year. It just tends to be neglected a lot, and I have some weed suppressant down with obviously the holes cut in for my gooseberry and blackcurrant bushes, but where the raspberries are, I didn't put any membrane down there because obviously the runners are gonna sprout up there, and there's grass growing there, and it's like possibly hip high, which is terrible. Naughty me. But obviously that needs to be sorted out, and I'd like to do it before next weekend because we have 5 shows in a row. So the next 5 weekends we will be selling at different garden shows. So there's not going to be much time at all to come up with the allotment. The first show we're going to be at is the RHS Spring Malvern show, which starts this coming Thursday. I'm not sure what date that is. 10th. It's the 10th. Of course it is, because it's my mum's birthday. Oh no, it starts on Wednesday, sorry. No, does it start on Wednesday? Oh, it either starts on the 9th or the 10th, sorry. I'm so rubbish at remembering because we do so many shows. Like, I don't know which show is next, and, you know, it gets a bit confusing. I'm going to blame the heat as well. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is I want that fruit cage completely weeded before we have to go away to Malvern, which leaves me a couple of days, and it really doesn't actually leave me that because we need to get ready for the show as well. So it just leaves me these 4 hours basically to weed the fruit cage. The other thing I want to do is plant out some flowers because they're ready to go out, and these ones are Honesty, and these were actually sown on the 11th of February, and they've grown into really nice strong plants, but they are ready to fly the nest now, be planted out. I planted them into these paper pots. Oh my god, there's a baby slug on there. Sorry slug, you're not gonna make it to the flower bed. But yeah, the paper pots have been really good this year. What I have tried not to do is to is to drench them too much, because obviously they're made of paper and they will start to crumble and disintegrate. But they look really healthy and I'm really happy with them. I think this variety is called Alba. Yes, I was right. So this is Honesty, variety Alba. And the main reason why I'm growing Honesty is for the dried flower heads. I just think they're absolutely stunning. So they'll be going out today. And I've also got here some Ammi Majus. And as you can see, again, they're ready to go out. These are a little bit like cow parsley. I just think they're absolutely beautiful, and there's something a little bit wild and rustic about them. And of course they're nice and tall, and you all know that I love tall plants. So they'll be going out as well. And I also got these two herbs here. Well, they're the same herb, but there's two of them. Called Lady's Mantle, and I got them from Herbal Haven. Now we see them at our garden shows, but the two herbs that I wanted were a little bit unusual, which was Lady's Mantle and Skullcap, which is currently at home because that's going to go in a pot. So I ordered these online and they came so quickly, so I really recommend herbalhaven.com. And they do absolutely loads of herbs, but these are going to be planted round by the pond, and I'll be using them to make some herbal teas with. So they're going to go out into the flower beds today. And I've also got, if I can reach them, some sweet peas. Now these were sown very late in the season. Now I usually sow my sweet peas end of January, beginning of February time. I don't think these were actually sown until around March. So they aren't as big as I would like them to be this time of year, but they do look very healthy, which is the main thing, I guess. I've pinched them out, so the majority of them now have got nice, well, there's 3 shoots on that one, 3 shoots on that one. They've got nice bulky shoots on them, which is what you want really. There's a couple which I've only just pinched out, but obviously they'll bulk out in time as well. So these are going to go up the archway, but I think this year, instead of placing a sweet pea, a French bean and a munchkin pumpkin on the same sort of arch, I might be a bit more selective and maybe dot them around a bit more so they don't all have to share that one space, because they might be a little bit crowded. I mean, it's just an experiment anyway. You've got to try new things just to see if they work better than last year, because the munchkin pumpkin harvest wasn't very good last year. So yeah, they'll be going in today again up the archway. What else is going in today? The other thing I want to direct sow this year are some poppies. Now in previous years I've sown my poppies at home in the greenhouse in little seed trays, but this year I thought I would have a go at sowing them outside in the flower bed, and the main reason why I'm doing that is because it's going to be a lot easier for me this year. And you've all seen it anyway, but I'll just quickly refresh your memories about what the flower bed looks like. So I've gone for a little bit of a different plan on the flower bed. The past 2 years the flowers were dotted around and it was a bit more casual, so to speak. But this year I'm going for a slightly more organised look to the flower border, and I'm having my flowers in rows around the border. So there will be 3 rows of cosmos, 2 rows of poppy, 3 rows of scabious, 3 rows of zinnias, 3 rows of Ammi Majus, 3 rows of dwarf sunflower, 3 rows of poppy, 3 rows of scabious, 3 rows of zinnia, 3 rows of cosmos, 4 rows of feverfew and 4 rows of honesty here. And I think this way will just work so much better for me and what I want from the flower bed this year, because I want a lot of cut flowers and I want to keep some for the bees as well. I just think it'll be easier for me to plant things out in rows, so I know where they are and what they are. And also when it comes to direct sowing you know, I can sow them in a nice drill and know where they are, instead of sprinkling them around the bed and just letting them pop up anywhere. So the 2 poppies I am growing this year are called Lauren's Grape and Lilac Peony. And they both grow to a height of 90 centimetres, which I'm really excited about. I love poppies anyway, don't get me wrong, they're beautiful, beautiful flowers. They don't last that long at all, but what I do grow poppies for is for the seed heads. I honestly think they are one of the most beautiful things ever in the whole world. I don't know what it is about dried flower heads and seed heads, but they're just absolutely stunning. So I'm going to be growing, 5 rows of poppies, probably just for their heads, because last year I used them in the Christmas wreath that I made, and they just last such a long time. I know you've obviously got the seed in there, but I picked some hydrangeas when I was in Wales last year, and they're still in a vase in the front room. They're obviously dried, but they're stunning, and obviously they've lasted, you know, from summer until nearly summer again. So I love dried flowers. So that is what I'm going to be doing today, and if I've got time I'm going to sow some swede into the brassica bed, but I don't think I'm going to have enough time, to be honest, because the fruit cage is very, very weeded over, and there's a tiny bit of the flower border that I need to weed as well. So once I've done that, and once I've sown the poppies and planted out the flowers and weeded the fruit cage, I don't think I'm going to have time to do it. But I'll just tell you anyway, just in case. Also, the brassica bed needs digging over. I haven't dug that over at all. And there's a few weeds that need to come out as well. But obviously, once that's dug, I'm going to sow some swede into there. And this variety is called swede tweed. My boyfriend really, really loves swede, which is probably one of the only reasons why I'm growing it. But I'm just going to have 1 row in my brassica bed. In my brassica bed, there's only going to be 1 row of each variety. So there's going to be 1 row of swede, 1 row of red cabbage, curly kale, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts and purple sprouting. Because my beds are only 3 metres by 2.5 metres big, there's not a lot of room at all, and because I want to grow quite a few different things, I decided just to grow 1 row of everything. And swede is going to be the first thing to go in. Everything else apart from the purple sprouting has been sown at home and they're growing really well. I'm going to sow the purple sprouting in the greenhouse in a couple of days' time, and hopefully I'm going to have some brassicas to pick this year, because last year I didn't have a brassica bed because it was full of that rubbish, but now I have 3 lovely looking beds and I'm so excited for the year ahead, and it's all coming together now. Just need to get that darn tooting fruit cage weeded and I'll be one happy bunny. So I best get cracking, otherwise I definitely won't have time to sow that swede. But the first thing I'm going to do, I think, is to plant out my flowers, and that's just going to be simple. Dig a small hole and pop the whole plant, so I can pop the whole paper pot without the slug into each hole that I dig. And like I said, I'll be doing them in rows, so it shouldn't take too long at all. So just remember to drink lots of water when it's hot, because boy is it hot. I'm going to get cracking. So whilst I'm here, I'm just going to do this job quickly because it's something that doesn't take that long, and it's also something I was meant to do a good couple of weeks ago now, and that is to sow another row of radish in the radish tank. Now there's currently 2 rows growing in here, and the first row is called China Rose, and that was sown on the 25th of March, and they're growing really nice, and I thinned them out last week as well. The second row was sown on the 11th of April, and that one's called Sparkler 3, and again they're growing really well. I haven't thinned them out yet, but what I do is I let them get a little bit bigger before I thin them out, and then I can eat the thinnings in a stir fry, which is really nice. So I'm going to sow the third row now, and the variety I've chosen is a beautiful purple variety which not only matches my shed, but it's going to be really delicious as well, and it's called Bacchus F1. So I'm going to sow that just next to the Sparkler 3 variety. I've got so many radish seed packets in my seed box left over from last year, which is really good. Or I'm just a complete and utter radish addict, and I just can't stop buying radish. But I mean, you can't resist purple radish after all, can you? So I'm just going to make a little drill with this bamboo stick. Put some seeds in my hand and just sprinkle them over the row. Now I was meant to sow my radish every 2 weeks, but the last row was actually sown on the 11th of April, which was only a month ago now. Not that it worries too much, I'm doing a lot better than I did last year. I was really bad with the successional sowing last year. I'm just going to do a few more. A few more down there. And then just cover it back up again. And what I'll do is I'll give that a good water now, and then I'll water it again later tonight, just because containers dry up really quickly, so just be careful if you've got any containers up your allotment to make sure they're watered. And there's already a label in there, so I'll just give them a water and I'll crack on with my other jobs. Now, one thing you do want to remember to do, especially when it's been this nice and sunny, is to top up the water in your pond if you have one. Now, I've noticed over the past couple of days that my water level in the pond has gone down by about 3 inches, which is absolutely crazy. But I mean, it's been so hot, and the water's just evaporated. So for the sake of my frogs and all the other insects, and if any wildlife do fall in there, I'm going to top the water up so things can get out so much easier. It's best to use rainwater, and luckily for me I have a huge water tank by the side of my shed which is full up with rainwater. But if you don't have rainwater, don't worry, you can use tap water. It's just rainwater is preferred. So I'm going to top that up for the frogs because I have noticed loads in there over the past couple of weeks, and they absolutely love the water iris. Like, every time I come up the allotment, and the first thing I do is look in the pond, but I see them round there by the water iris, and I counted 8 once and 1 time. So, and the water forget-me-not is coming out in bloom now, so it looks really nice. And the one thing I didn't do with my pond is I didn't clean it out over the winter. So again, naughty me, but I'm just glad that there's still frogs in there, and that they seem quite happy amongst the water iris. So I'm completely drenched and sweaty and covered in mud. I sort of got done what I wanted to do. I didn't quite finish weeding the fruit cage. I got so far as the raspberry part, so 3/4 of it is done, but the hard part now is going to be the raspberry bit because that's all open soil. It's going to be harder to get the weeds out. But the flowers are in. I had to sort of change my plan a little bit because where the Ammi Majus went is my asparagus, and there's currently 7 or 8 spears poking out the ground. I don't know if you noticed it earlier. I'm so chuffed with it. Like, every year it surprises me, but this is well, actually, you're not supposed to cut asparagus until it's 2 years old, and I don't know why, but I thought I didn't plant that long ago. And then I was looking back through my videos, and I had actually planted my asparagus out in July 2015, so it's only been in there 3 years, so I could have actually harvested from it last year. But I'm going to cut from it this year. There's not going to be much to go around. Obviously there's only 1 plant there, but I'm so chuffed with it, and it's going to be the first time I've ever tasted homegrown asparagus, so I'm very much looking forward to that. But obviously I couldn't do 3 rows of Ammi Majus like I wanted to do. I just had to put up with 2, which is perfectly fine. I didn't get to sow the swede, but I'll do that another day. Not to worry, I've got some jobs ticked off, that's the main thing. But I'm going to head home for a shower now because I feel good, but I feel all yucky. So I'm just going to top this water up a couple of times to keep the frogs happy. But thank you for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you all next time.